On today's episode of You Asked, what's a TV that you can rely on to get you through at least the next 3 years? What's QLED Plus? And can a mini LED TV also be an edge-lit TV? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is You Asked, the show where we answer your tech questions. If you've got something you want to know, send your question into youasked@digitaltrends.com, and don't forget to tune into the show to see if your question has been selected. Ratchet Duck, which has immediately become my new favorite username, says, my TCL burnt out after 3 years and I'm trying to find a replacement that isn't gonna bankrupt me. But I also need reliability. Will this TCL QM6K also burn out after only 3 years? So, Mr. Duck, it should not. The TCL QM6K is a very solid mini LED TV among the better models that TCL makes. Personally, I'd be curious to know which specific model burnt out on you and whether or not it was one of the really budget TVs that they make. And that kind of goes across the board. I really try not to come off as a TV snob on this channel because I am definitely not a TV snob in real life. And you don't need to be to find a great TV these days, especially with options like TCL's QM6K, which now starts at less than $500. But it is worth noting that you do get what you pay for most of the time. So if you do choose to go the really budget-friendly route for some of the lower tier edge-lit TVs that don't have the newer and improved processors and backlight systems, you may get a TV that's just not up to par with what else is available. And it may not last as long if you drive it hard. Like, $15 cross trainers aren't gonna hold up on a rocky trail like $150 hiking boots. So regardless of brand, Samsung, LG, TCL, whoever, a lot of them do make really inexpensive models, but I wouldn't expect any of them to hold up as long as some of the higher priced options. Also, it's electronics, and things happen and parts fail all the time. TVs, phones, vehicles, cameras, home appliances, that's life. So yes, I think the TCL QM6K is a great buy, especially at its discounted price, but if you do want a brand change in the same price range, the Hisense U9 is another very solid pick. The player NKC is up next and says, what's up with QLED Plus? So that's something that Philips uses to describe its QLED TVs and separate them from the competition with a few improvements. What you typically find in those QLED Plus models is more heat-resistant materials, sometimes panels that do a better job handling glare, and specific gaming upgrades like a 144 Hz refresh rate. Now, if that doesn't sound super special to you, well, it's probably because some of those things are also found in the TCL, Hisense, Samsung, Sony, and LG TVs that we discuss on this channel quite a bit. Kind of like how Hisense calls their QLED mini LED TVs ULED, it's more of a change with processing and specific panel differences than being definitively better than another mini LED TV because of hardware. So do with all that what you will, but don't assume that you're necessarily getting a huge improvement over the competition because there's a plus at the end of the name. With the next question, Matt asks, is the 75-inch Hisense U9 worth buying at its current price of $1,388? I think it is. It's certainly not lacking for brightness, hitting up to 6,500 nits. So if you are in a bright room, like the tons of people that write into this show that have asked about TVs for such situations, the U9 should certainly be on your short list. My main reservation is, do you need it? The Hisense U8 QG gives you a lot of what the U9 does, including the ability to hit 5,000 nits peak brightness, which is still more than most people need. So you could save a little money going with the U8 instead of the U9. It's not a ton of money right now. I think you'd only save like $100 or so, but it's nice to see this TV slide into the significant price and performance gap between the U8 QG and the rest of that 2025 lineup that includes a $25,000 116-inch RGB backlit TV and even more expensive micro LED option. In any case, keep an eye out for sales. Hisense has a lot of them going on right now, and it seems like they're constantly changing by the day as they try to clear out their 2025 stock. If you're looking for a new TV, it's a good time to be weighing your options. Finally, a question that kind of brings out one of the worst parts about TVs and marketing all in one. Treble Clef Jones 4899 says, I see an LG that says it's edge-lit and mini LED. Does that sound right? It's the LG QLED 85A series mini LED 4K smart TV. but the spec sheet says edge-lit? So lots of you have had this question, and it is very confusing. And to rant for like 15 to 30 seconds, I think a big part of what TV manufacturers are doing in terms of the new ways to improve panels and picture quality is really cool. Technology is being used in ways we didn't know it could. But for every new tech label or acronym, QNED, QLED, SQD, ULED, etc., there are always still a few models that just kind of muddy the waters and hope everyone that judges a TV on specs alone doesn't notice a difference. All in the name of selling a TV probably for more than they should. Case in point, this QNED 85A. And I don't think LG is alone in creating a TV that's edge-lit with mini LEDs. The trick is those smaller LEDs are placed around the edge of the TV where the backlight is, which does provide local dimming zones technically, but it's not nearly as effective as full array local dimming. That's what you'd expect to find in a mini LED TV, a dimming system that provides zones throughout the entire panel, not just certain parts along the outside. And the results, as you'd expect, tell the story. That QNED 85A isn't gonna give you great contrast, and it's not gonna get bright enough for the HDR experience that you'd get out of a TV with full array local dimming. On Best Buy's website, they list the backlight type as edge-lit. Ratings, which does very thorough testing, knows this to be an edge-lit TV, but on LG's site, no mention of it being edge-lit. They prefer to just highlight its mini LED capability and not go into more specifics. What I'd say is this: if you can find the TV in person or view it next to a mini LED TV with full array local dimming, do that and see if one stands out or if one bothers you. Try not to just take advice online, but if you can, go see them in person. You can probably find them in a Best Buy or something like that. But also, I wouldn't pay what they're asking for that TV. Not when you can get much more bang for your buck with other brands whose TVs come with full array local dimming and cost less. That's it for this week, guys. I'm gonna go somewhere and come down from the high of that rant to end the show. Thanks as always for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon.